Rian Johnson gives an update on when his new trilogy begins production. That is the headline on this week's Force Friday show.
Yes, Stephen, this one is coming in from Digital Spy, and you're right, it's Rian Johnson. He's been asked once again about the potential Star Wars trilogy that he's supposed to be writing and directing, working on. And he says the truth is they are still figuring out their schedule, their game plan. If it's possible for me to squeeze in another film before or while working on that, I will. I think he said something prior to that as well, that essentially he doesn't know yet whether it's happening or not. Well, he's already said, Stephen, it's happening, but there's not much news starting to gather for this. We're still looking for a sign of anything happening after Rise of Skywalker.
Rian Johnson gives an update. It's not much of an update, I'm afraid.
No.
I think he's just echoing what he said before, John. And
I think he's hoping if he repeats himself often enough that Disney will take note and perhaps finally announce it. I'm
actually going to defend him here. I think he's actually getting the same question repeated, so he's going to give the same answer every time. But I'm starting to doubt this is going to happen now, to be honest with you, John. They're still figuring out their schedule. Now, Rian Johnson was announced that this new trilogy from Rian Johnson was announced nearly 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
before The Last Jedi.
We've had a few films that have been cancelled since then, the likes of potential standalones, that is. And they've been solely concentrating on the television stuff for now. But to say that they're still figuring out the schedule doesn't cut it with me, I'm afraid.
There is no schedule.
I think, exactly, our schedule.
But short.
I think they're going to wait till after the release of The Rise of Skywalker before they actually come out and say this is not happening now. I've got to be honest with you, John. I don't think this would be the best time to releasing that kind of news, in the build-up and the promotion to the last film in the Skywalker saga. I don't believe he is going to do this now, because I think it was this time last year he said he was ready to start writing, a first draft of this trilogy. And I don't think it's in this article, but what I've been reading is he's not even began. He's not even started it at all, so it doesn't look good for him anyway.
No, it doesn't look good for Rian, Stephen. In terms of the half of the fan base, Star Wars fan base that is, who don't really like Rian or his creative choices in The Last Jedi, then it's certainly rapturous applause and happiness for them. But look, Stephen, I am neither on that side or the other side. Right in the middle, there was elements of The Last Jedi which I thought were utterly shite.
Yes.
Which in hindsight I've got even worse on viewings, although I say that, I've actually not went back and watched The Last Jedi since the new year of 2018, I think it was.
Yeah.
So there is no hindsight, but I've looked back, Stephen. I've also seen snippets of the movie. I've just not went back and watched the entire thing, start to finish. There was elements of it though that I did enjoy. I said it at the time, Stephen, I firmly stand by it. It's still one of the most visually impressive Star Wars movies to ever be created. That shot of General Holdo taking the ship into hyperspace through the Supremacy was unbelievable. The silence, the stunningness of the actual ship bursting into tiny little fragments. It was beautiful. So there was parts of that movie which were beautifully filmed and created and visually and stuff like that, but elements were crap. So look, I'm going off on a tangent, I'm saying about The Last Jedi again, but it does frame why some people would perhaps be delighted about maybe his misery and his lack of information about his new trilogy. But do I think that he will get a new trilogy, Stephen? I don't know. I can't even speculate and begin to question what the hell is happening.
What's your gut feeling though, John?
Gut feeling is probably not.
No.
Yeah, probably not. Because I think it's too divisive now, Stephen.
I think it's very strange because after The Last Jedi, those sort of closing shots, it was a strange way to finish a Star Wars film.
I think
Wars film.
I think that was his new trilogy. He was setting
I
up,
think
Stephen.
a lot of people assumed that, John. But in hindsight now, it looks like perhaps if things don't work out, it's just going to be an afterthought of anyone can have the Force, not just Skywalkers. That will be the sort of official party line, I think, if he doesn't get his trilogy, which I don't think he will, John. But
where was Canto Bight, though, located in the galaxy? This is what I need to find out. I'm not entirely sure whereabouts it was situated, but obviously that's where the little obviously ragtag group of children and a little broom kid.
Yeah, broom kid.
Done his thing at the end of the
Boy,
movie.
yeah.
So depending on where that was situated, that planet, I think we do have a map, Stephen. I don't actually have access to it now, but I'm sure in the visual.
In hindsight, John,
Yeah.
I was hoping that would have been one of the First Order's targets in the Force Awakens, because it was absolutely. It reeked of the prequels to me.
Yeah, they're not going to do that,
It
though.
was just about the spectacle, and it wasn't that much of a spectacle. But there was. I'm going to go off on a tangent. I'm going to get back to what you were saying
Tangents
as
are
well,
good.
John, because there was elements in that film I did like visually, and sound as well. Some of the stuff, the crate was a great looking set.
It was.
Also, I think the cat and mouse thing kind of annoyed me as well. That whole slowest chase in the galaxy, it was just it was
slow
so
space
bad,
chase,
you know. It was just, but there was things in there, as you said, John. Looking Leia's, moment was brilliant.
Yep, the spark.
A lot of people liked the throne room stuff. I wasn't that bothered about it, to be honest with you. I'd seen it all before. And then when you see the breakdown of the choreography, it's absolutely shocking. But they had to edit stuff out. It was ridiculous. But I didn't like those guards. Very plasticky looking. Toy sellers, basically. Snoke, visually, looked amazing.
Yeah, we said that at the time. The little tufts of hair.
Yeah, and I think there was spit coming out his mouth at one point when he was ranting. So it shows you how far they came with that technology. But overall, the story. And he... Rian Johnson wrote the story, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Based on, I think...
The overarching treatments of, I don't know if it was JJ who actually took over for the treatments. I know they had George Lucas's original treatments for sequel trilogy, which would focus on microbial elements of the galaxy and
that's right,
how that impacted the Force and greater things would transpire from these tiny
That'd
little
have been nuts.
events. It would have been absolutely crazy, Stephen. But yeah, I know that he had an original treatment. I think Michael Arndt came in. If I'm saying his name right, it's a strange name.
Yep.
It's Arndt.
Yeah.
But Arndt I'm going to go
Sounds
with.
Dutch.
Yeah, it does sound Dutch, which is tragic when we look at other elements of Dutch things going on just now, Stephen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I digress, we'll not get into that. He done some form of treatment, I think, and then it was partially tossed out, and then JJ came in, obviously, with Lawrence Kasdan and took over. So I think he's perhaps got an overarching treatment there. Rian Johnson's come in, wrote the actual story of The Last Jedi. He's probably had to lightly or loosely adhere to that treatment, although I say loosely in the absolute, and I mean loosely, because there's no adhering to that story. If you ask certain people, including me, elements were completely forgotten. But yeah, Stephen, we're way off on a tangent. Do I think he'll get the trilogy? My gut's saying no, because I think it's too divisive. I think Lucasfilm and Disney realise that this guy is absolutely detested by at least 40%, 30% of the fan base.
They're not going to get bums in the seats for
Yeah,
that.
they're not going to get bums, and Disney are all about the moolah.
Yeah.
Bob Iger is all about the moolah.
Yep.
So ultimately it'll come down to who is the least divisive, whilst giving a decent story and getting bums on seats. And ultimately I think that backlash for The Last Jedi has crucified Rian Johnson's chances of having a trilogy. That's why we're not seeing it announced formally. We got something about committing to a trilogy before The Last Jedi. After the furore and backlash, though, it's all went quiet. He's continually getting asked the question. Non-committal answers that are being given. Now he's talking about writing another movie. I don't see it happening. I don't really care whether it happens now at this stage or not. I'm not connected to any of the elements at the end of The Last Jedi which may have sprung out into his greater story.
Yeah.
But I said before, Stephen, if it does happen, I'm not going to cry about it either, because the guy is a decent independent filmmaker. He knows how to take interesting story concepts. We've seen it with Knives Out.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Brick and Looper. We always speak about those movies, but they really are greatly crafted movies. Apparently Knives Out is a greatly crafted movie as well. If I can get my breath back, I was like David Prowse there. I'm not Sebastian Shaw at the end of Return of the Jedi. But yeah, Stephen, if he was to get the trilogy, I wouldn't cry, because look, when he's not overly encumbered with the legacy of characters spanning 30 years, he knows what he's doing. If he had his own fresh telling of a story to do, I'm sure it'd be fine. But look, I don't think it's going to happen.
It is what it is.
And it is what it is. So we'll move on, Stephen, swiftly to the next topic on that note.
Yes.
And it's all about the rise of Skywalker leaks. We're going all Mike Zero. It's a little bit more hypothetical, Stephen, this topic. And it's saying that a leak could confirm that a canonical, if I can get my tongue round it, there's a lot of tongue twisters in here, a canonical time travel twist could be happening here, Stephen. And it may be leaning on elements of Rebels' World Between Worlds episode, where of course we've seen Ersha, I can't even say the guy's boy's name, Ezra.
Yeah.
I'm having a mare here, that tongue twister's broke me. Ezra, obviously going between worlds, walking through essentially 30-40 years of Star Wars history and future, hearing voices beyond the veil and saving Ashoka Tano in her fight with Vader. They're saying, Stephen, that the final sequence featuring Rey and Kylo Ren could lean upon that episode, and that's why the leak we spoke about previously, about them popping into different locations in this final lightsaber sequence of the fight. It wasn't going to be a traditional fight where they're in one location. They were going and zipping across different locations in the galaxy. They're saying that this may explain it better than perhaps them using Force Zap, I think they say. They're actually going in, they're breaching portals and whatnot, and going through the time itself and changing things. I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts
I'm done speaking about
I think I've actually jumped into one of those time travel portals, because I think we talked about this maybe about a year ago, and I hated it
Don't
then.
you think it was a year ago, Stephen? I think it was a few months back.
I hated it then, John. It seems to be cropping up more now. I think because these outlets that we read the information from, and as you said, John, this is rumours, so I think when things are quiet, they feel the need, they've got to stir something up, and they've went back to this old regurgitated theory.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that, I've got to be honest with you. It's so Endgame, it worked in Endgame because I don't know, it just worked, because
it was established in the comics, Stephen.
Yeah, and it's a universe of superheroes. This is supposed to be a galaxy of normal people, if you can call them normal. If you've ever been in that cantina. But there's nothing spectacular about them. They're just odd looking, and apart from the Jedi's gift, there's nothing very mystical or scientific about it. Apart from obviously not floating in space. The Keeper of the Wills. They don't float in space either, but...
Palpatine looked as though he was floating at times, Stephen, in some
might say it was floating before he hit the bottom.
Well, I was floating the other week. In fact, it was on Friday there, Stephen. In the previous Fourth Friday show, I was actually floating coming off the coffee. So,
do I like it, John? No. No, I don't like it. That's the answer, because that would be such a crap way of handling things. And what is the point? What is the point of going on this tour guide? Places we've been before. Us as the audience members, Rey doesn't know anything about Mustafa. Kylo Ren would probably know a little bit about it. They wouldn't care where they're battling, and...
Well, I have a theory, Stephen, why it could be...
Because they can't come up with anything better.
Yeah, it could be incredibly important to Rey in her actual arc and her backstory.
She's Shmi.
It could... It could be that she is indeed a clone, and that this fight sequence going back through is actually explaining her origins and all the various different
parts. Do you remember that theory, the one that she is actually a young Shmi?
Oh God, no.
And she's sent back in time to live her life.
He is
40 years ago or something.
He's giving hope to those who have none.
She does look like her a bit, I've got to be honest with you. I think it's that forehead.
Oh Lord. Oh, that'd actually be quite interesting, Stephen.
If she buffed...
imagine that. Yeah, if she actually buffed Anakin Skywalker and started the whole Skywalker actual story.
The whole Skywalker saga is a loop.
Started, wow. Yeah, it's a loop. It's like the Doctor Strange loop.
Yeah.
Never-ending loop.
I love a rumour.
Stephen, yeah, but as I was saying, I think it could have, if it was to be true, and I think we're seriously scratching the bottom of the barrel here, because it is from Reddit. As you say, heard it.
Yep.
So, very unlikely to be true, but if there is elements of truth within here, and they are leaning on this episode of Rebels, the World Between Worlds, then it could be that she is indeed a clone, and it's a way of perhaps visually letting the audience know this is all the different people she's taking genomes from, DNA from, and popping into the main parts in their lives, the likes of perhaps Palpatine, Obi-Wan, Luke, Anakin, popping into different periods in their life, like Mustafa, the Cloud City. I don't know how you would pop into a moment in Palpatine's life unless you are utilising Matt Smith and a younger version of Palpatine, and this is an important part to maybe...
On the toilet.
Yeah, on the toilet. Yeah, I don't know. But yes, they do say though, Stephen, that...
Where this story belongs.
Yeah, it could be a way though of introducing Palpatine into the story. This is how we get Sheev in The Rise of Skywalker, World Between Worlds. One of his Sith troopers or whatever, out in the middle of nowhere in the uncharted regions of the galaxy, discovers that Rey and Kylo have indeed. In fact, it could be that they go to this Wayfinder location, I'm clutching here as well, discover a rift into the world between worlds. One of these troopers follows them in, and then they pull Palpatine back from the past, and this is how it all unfolds. I don't know.
The more and more I hear these things, John, the more and more I'm going to get out my road to actually read spoilers, because I want to make sure I'm getting in and not wasting my money or my time. They're working on this.
Is it the worst thing that could happen, though?
Well, they're working on the assumption that Palpatine's going to be there in physical form, and this is a reason, this is given a reason, an explanation how he can be there. I still maintain he's going to be a spirit. I don't think he's going to be...
Or he could be a voice from the veil of the world between worlds.
Yeah.
And he maybe imparts something onto one of the characters.
This is getting too mystical. I don't know. Bin it.
Yeah.
But listen, George Lucas will be hoping this is what happens, because everybody will be forgiving him for the proposals if this
and
happens.
he'll be saying, look, I'll buy off Star Wars from Disney once the stock plummets after The Rise of Skywalker, if this is indeed true. And then I will release a new sequel trilogy featuring absolutely no
Harrison
one.
Ford doesn't
Absolutely no one from the legacy
chance.
story will be there, because they've either died or they're not interested. So yeah, it's way too late for that. So I take that back immediately. George will just be lying in his... He'll be lying in his bed of money, Stephen. Did you see actually Mark Hamill post a very funny tweet of him and Carrie Fisher reacting? It was a photo of them shocked, I think, behind the scenes of Return of the Jedi, and he says, this was the first time me and Carrie had a look at the balance in George's bank or something like that. Wow. So that was quite funny.
Yeah.
It was much more funny when he posted it on Twitter than the way I've actually broke it down. It was it went on too long. Stephen, no, this has went on too long, this topic. We're moving on to the final topic of the show, Stephen. And this is another rumour which may hold a little bit more credence, a little bit more weight to it, Stephen, because it's coming from making Star Wars. But it's coming from Cinema Blend via making Star Wars. And this is Star Wars rumour, as I did say. Are characters being de-aged? Now, Stephen, we spoke about this previously, I think. Or perhaps we spoke about it, but not in the show. But they're saying that there is a sequence at the beginning of The Rise of Skywalker featuring two Jedi training on a forest planet. We don't know if it's Endor or somewhere else. They have white visors, a green and blue lightsaber. We don't know their identity until they take the helmet off. Then it is revealed to be a young Leia and Luke from around about the same period as Return of the Jedi. And it goes forward and it explains perhaps why Carrie Fisher is Leia, and that is not Carrie Fisher, is perhaps going on to train and mentor Rey later on in the events of Rise of Skywalker. What do you make of this? Is this something you think will happen? You think we will see this de-aging sequence of Leia and Luke training, maybe parrying some blows, I don't know, on the moon forest, the moon planet of Endor?
I think, John...
or somewhere else.
I think the narratives is decent. I think something like that would work probably maybe in 1988, 1990. It would make sense. You're talking about opening a Star Wars film with de-aged characters. It's a big gamble. It depends how they're shot, I suppose. The way that they did Robert Downey Jr.
Kurt Russell as well.
And Kurt Russell.
Good Lord, I seen a photo the
but
other
they're
day.
very short, brief scenes. This would have to be probably shot that way, as you said, the advisors, so that would kill a bit of time, I suppose. Yeah. If they were probably in the middle of a forest, certainly shadows could cover a lot of that up as well. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a great introduction to the film, but opening a flashback as well, it's a big gamble, John. I've got to be honest with you.
And again, it's playing on the heartstrings of the older fan base who long for more of the legacy cast and crew. No, not the crew, but the cast and characters, which is the same thing. They want more of Leia and Luke. They want to see them from that time period, but sadly, time has moved on and they can't get it. So again, it'd be playing on that. And again, it's Stephen, it would just be a slap in the face to Rian Johnson, who's full of this mantra, Kylo Ren, who he created in that story, and also the speech, let the past die, kill it if you have to. That's just going straight in the face of that and ripping it up and tossing it off into the dirt.
Because of the, obviously, money talks, John.
Yeah, money talks. And and in this case, they know that the main demographics want Luke and Leia. But why they never gave us Luke and Leia more in the previous films?
It's funny how we our perception of Star Wars at this stage now, John, in 2019, where I get Facebook memories of the build-up to The Force Awakens and how excited we were for some of for little information we got, obviously, around about this time in 2015, and the excitement all around the globe for the return of these characters. When you look back on the last two films, the Force Awakens was good.
I was about to say that.
It is good, John. Yeah. It's a good adventure film. It's recapturing the sort of feel of A New Hope. Some people might say it's more than that, but it was just reintroducing that franchise back into the world again, and obviously to bring in a new generation that are probably brought up on the likes of Harry Potter and films like that, and
Hunger Games,
kind of thing, So it served its purpose, but when I look back, there's a lot of missed opportunities there. This would go probably a long way to sort of fixing a lot of those sort of things, but I don't really want a Star Wars film where we're just going down memory lane. But the last topic we spoke about, the time travel thing, John, and now this, it just seems like we're going back to relive the original trilogy again, and I don't want that. I would rather have saw our original three developed, older, wiser, and featured more, rather than just being background characters.
Yeah, Stephen, look, I would have loved to have had that been the case as well in this sequel trilogy, but
and
sadly...
the three of them together in one scene.
Yeah, and that was an absolute joke, how that ball could have been dropped by Lucasfilm Disney. It's just such a subtle, simple little thing. You'd think they would somehow...
I blame JJ for it, John.
I do blame JJ.
Yeah.
He was terrified of the character, Stephen. Didn't know how to handle him.
And the only way of getting Harrison Ford back was in one film.
Yeah,
so.
And to be fair, Stephen, I enjoyed Han Solo in The Force Awakens, I have to say. He was one of the shining stars of that movie, the standout. Just the way he delivered humour, the way he played off with the likes of Finn and Chewie.
Yeah.
So he's been handled the best of the legacy characters for me in this trilogy. Obviously, Carrie Fisher sadly passed away, so I can't really say they've not handled her character correctly, because I think if she hadn't passed away, they would have gave her a fitting end in the Rise of Skywalker. And even Luke, elements of Luke were okay, just the whole other
green milk,
just the whole other bits that weren't okay, like the vast majority of his appearance. So I take that back right away. But yeah, Stephen, would I like to see this happen? I don't know. It would be cool. It'd be a cool sequence to see in the movie. I don't know if opening the movie with that would be the best way to go. I think it would maybe... I don't know, it'd be very slow. It'd be a slow start to the movie. I feel like we need to... With this movie, Stephen, is only going to be 2 hours and 15 minutes long. So you're fitting so much in. You have to round up so much story. To start with such a slow, meandering intro would be... I think it'd be a misstep. You really have to get in, set the tone, and then go with it for just hammer and tong, 2 hours, so from beginning to end, if you're going to get it all done correctly.
After so I feel it would be a difficult thing
to pull off. A very difficult thing to do that. Introduce it and then boom, we go off and tell us where Kylo is, where the First Order is, where the resistance are at this stage.
30 years previously.
30 years previously. But a part of me would like to see it, see how they'd handle it, and it would explain why Billy Lord is perhaps doing double duty in this, maybe filling in as her mother and then obviously as that other character whose name completely eludes me at the moment. But yeah, I don't think it will happen, Stephen. I think we will see Carrie Fisher footage, archival footage used in a way which is fitting.
It sounded like you said Gary Fisher there, John.
Gary Fisher. No. I would like to see him in it. Yeah. I don't know if he has had a cameo.
Maybe on Canto Bite.
Could have done. Yeah. But Stephen, another part of me, before I move on to what I was about to finish with, another part of me would be fearful of how they would handle that. Because I could just see Leia absolutely schooling Luke, and then that's the final shat upon version of Luke we'll get of the character, and we'll see no more of him. The last shot will be him, and then maybe sitting in a tree log saying, look, there's another.
Imagine Kathleen Kennedy, how we killing off Han? Or, alright, he's getting stabbed, what? Let's make him fall as well. Well, let's make the planet implode. Let's just...
I think that was Harrison.
Punish him enough.
That was Harrison.
But you're right, John, I think it would be a big gamble. It really would be a big gamble to go down that road. It's something that working in another franchise or perhaps maybe in another part of this trilogy, but I don't think doing this for the sort of concluding part. They need to tie everything up, not just for the original characters, but these new characters as well have got to serve their purpose as well. And that was obviously their purpose to begin with. was to carry that story forward. So,
yeah, Stephen, the only way, finally, I will add, is that I can see it perhaps working in the context of The Rise of Skywalker is if it is very short and sweet, as you did say. Just for the visuals, it has to be short and sweet. Tarkin in Rogue One was in short little bursts, incredible. But as the movie went on and you seen more and more of them, it did become noticeable. So if it's short and sweet, aesthetically it'll work. And if it's short and sweet from a story standpoint, then it will work. Show her how she got her training. Show us how she got her training, and then that will explain perhaps if she is mentoring Rey in this movie, how she's able to imbue her and just give her some knowledge of the Force. That's the only way it can work. But again, I just don't feel like there's time for it in this movie. I feel like there's too much to be rounded up in this final act in the overarching sequel trilogy, and they've just not got enough time to introduce Kerry Russell's character, Richard E. Grant's character, all of that Russell. Yeah, it is Richard E. Grant. I was about to say Russell again. How they can introduce, there's this mild panic there, how they can introduce all these characters and have it all flow over 2 hours. It's impossible, and I don't think it will happen, sadly, even though I would like to see it briefly. But look, that is going to round up. Yeah, on you go.
Just before you do, John, I'm just thinking of the articles, the actual topics we talked about. We didn't really agree with any of them, to be honest with you. No. They were all rubbish by us. Nothing in those.
Maybe we should talk, Stephen, about the potential Solo Star Wars story TV show hitting Disney Plus briefly. What was your thoughts on that?
John,
this is not official yet, I don't believe, but it's heavily rumoured.
Let's talk about another rumour.
Yeah, do you think, is that something you'd like to see, Stephen, briefly before we go?
No.
You wouldn't like to see Donald Glover and Alden Ehrenreich back?
Crop up and
Emilia Clarke?
You know, I prefer to see a Lando TV series.
I think we'll see a Lando. Yeah. I think Glover was the absolute standout performer in that movie, and I think he absolutely deserves to have another shot at the Lando character. But if it does happen, I think my rumours of it tying into perhaps all the other stories, the Kenobi story, the actual Cassian Andor series, eventually, I think they'll interconnect it all if it does happen at some point. But look, unless you've got something else to add, Stephen, that's going to round up this week's episode of the Force Friday show. We rambled off incoherently for large swathes of that, certainly I did. But what did you make of this potential Rian Johnson trilogy? Getting made, not getting made? Do you think it will happen, or will it be consigned to the dustbin of history? What do you make of the potential world between worlds, or whatever it was, from Rebels, perhaps being leaned upon and having an impact in that final lightsaber battle? What the hell do you make of that final topic we spoke about? If you have anything to say, comment below and let us know what your thoughts were. I'll not clap my hands again. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And both me and Stephen will be back on Monday with MBE Movie News.